Hi guys, it's Courtney, and today's video is a hard one. Unfortunately, had what they called a missed abortion, and Devlin and I did a video together. I will link that in the caption below, but I wanted to make one by myself from my point of view. So if you're interested in hearing my side of the miscarriage story, just continue watching. So if this is your first time watching, hello, my name is Courtney Skipworth. I am 30 years old, and recently I suffered a miscarriage, or missed abortion as they call it. So I was previously documenting our pregnancy's journey, and I was at 11 weeks when we had our first ultrasound. It started off pretty typical, I'm guessing. I've never been pregnant, so this is the first time for everything for us. We went in for our appointment. The doctor did a breast exam. She went over the lab work that I had previously had at my 8-week appointment. Everything looked great. And then we got into the vaginal exam. She looked at my ovaries, looked at my uterus. There was a sac, there was a baby, and then everything changed. So although I was 11 weeks, 2 days, the baby was only measuring at 8 weeks, and there was no heartbeat. And the measurements can be off, so that wasn't the frightening part, but the lack of heartbeat was. So not that indicated that the baby stopped growing at 8 weeks. And when she told us, I don't know, I heard what she was saying. I understood from a medical standpoint what she was saying. I just couldn't make myself believe it. So I kind of sat there and said okay to everything that she said. We had a midwife at first. After she did her exam and found what she found, she went and got a second opinion because, of course, anything can be wrong. You know, we can overlook stuff. The second opinion doctor came in. She was the OBGYN doctor. She did pretty much the same transvaginal ultrasound. She added a Doppler. There was no heartbeat. She also did some other scan, some other screen where you could see blood flow, and you can see blood flow in my tissues, but there was no blood flow in the baby. So she agreed with the midwife, and the proper term that they use is a missed abortion. I had not had any issues the entire pregnancy as far as cramping, spotting. I did have some spotting after intercourse, but supposedly that was natural. And when the midwife did her initial exam, she did say she saw some blood. So that kind of concerned her initially. And then she didn't find a heartbeat. So she said my body was probably preparing to actually pass the baby. It just hadn't gotten there yet. We sat down, we were given a couple of options. We could wait until baby naturally passed. We could take some medication to kind of help the process along, or I could have a DNC. Originally, I chose to do the medication, and so this all happened on Monday, June the 30th. And so they said it could take up to 48 hours for the tablets to work, and they suggest you not be alone, understandably. So I was going to take the tablets on Friday, which would have been August the 3rd. I didn't want to do this alone, so I was going to wait until Friday after he'd gotten off work and do the medication, and we'd have the full weekend. And I had a follow-up appointment on Monday to make sure that everything passed. If everything hadn't passed, then I would have to get a DNC anyway. So originally that was the plan. Monday was not a bad day for me, even though we got such devastating news. Again, I kind of just, it hadn't hit me yet. My husband took it pretty hard originally, and it was so difficult seeing him cry and me not react, I guess, in the way that people think you should. So we kind of have an unspoken rule that neither of us fall apart at the same time. So Monday was a difficult day for him, and I was there to comfort him and, talk through some stuff and just kind of be there for him. And then Tuesday, I woke up and it all hit me at once. I was a mess. Crying hysterically. I didn't want to eat. I didn't have an appetite. And in that moment, my husband became my rock. And I'm so blessed and thankful to have such an amazing husband. He called his job, told them he couldn't come in that morning. They completely understand. As I said, he went to check in Monday after the appointment, which I know was difficult for him, but we're in the military, so there's certain stuff you kind of just got to move past. But he let the command know what was going on when he checked in, and they sent him home on Monday. Tuesday, he called them that morning because he was supposed to go back to work, and they allowed him to stay home until that afternoon. And Tuesday, I was actually checking out of my current command to go on leave until I check into my new command at the end of this month, August. So I had some obligations that I had to suck it up for and take care of, which was pretty difficult. So I kind of got myself together. I went to my command. I checked out. Thankfully, nobody asked or said anything. My husband called our midwife and the doctor that was helping us, and I couldn't do the pills anymore. I couldn't do it at home, so he called them that morning and told them I changed my mind. I was really having a difficult time. And they said they would schedule me for a DNC. After I left my command, checking out, my husband had gone to his job, and I didn't want to be home by myself. So I went to a friend of mine's house, who is amazing. If you don't follow her, go follow her. Love_Tanya, I think that's her name, on YouTube. She has her own trying to conceive journey that I am so down for, and I'm so thankful to have such great friends. Unfortunately, she had experienced a miscarriage herself with her first pregnancy. So she knew exactly what I was going through. She lives in the area, so I went to her house. And again, she was amazing. She didn't force me to talk about anything. She was really open with her story, as she has been throughout her journey. Again, you can go to her YouTube channel. She openly talks about her trying to conceive journey with her husband and her struggle with PCOS. But she was just there for me. Of course I cried, and she just allowed me to vent. And it's great having somebody in person that has gone through the situation that you trust and you can talk openly with, that understands. So I'm so grateful for her being here. Prior to leaving her house, I got a call from the midwife who said they had scheduled my D&C for the next day. And this happened on a Monday. So they were able to get me into the office by Wednesday, which I am thankful for that too. It was kind of a quickly add me to the schedule kind of situation. So we were told to report on Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock to the OB clinic to see the doctor. We got there was a little bit of confusion because again, I was kind of added to the schedule last minute, but no one knew except the doctor. So they had to find her to check me in and make sure everything was okay. We got there probably about 7:30, 7:45. By the time I signed consents and everything, the doctor said that something had opened up early so we can get it done that morning. She directed us to same-day surgery. I signed more paperwork, got checked into the same-day surgery, was put in a room. They took my blood, got my IV started, and we talked to anesthesia, and everything was scheduled. Again, Wednesday was a difficult day for my husband, and I was pretty okay. So I was there to be supportive for him and just kind of reassure him that unfortunately this is a common happening. Like, after talking to the doctor, they say 25 to 30% of first pregnancies kind of end in missed abortions, which is the clinical name for you didn't pass the baby yet, but the baby is no longer alive. So that was my situation, either a missed abortion or a miscarriage, which at the end of the day is the same outcome. 1 in 4 women, it's really common, unfortunately, but that kind of made me feel a little bit better that I wasn't alone in this situation and that people understood. And ironically, once we told our family, because we had recently announced it on Facebook and told our family the week prior that we were expecting, which I was 10 weeks at the time. I know it was a little early, but we were so excited. This is something that we have been praying for and working toward for a few months, so my husband has been wanting to be a father for a while, and I always felt like I had other stuff to accomplish before I was prepared to make those moves. So me passing the NCLEX and solidifying my nursing career was like the last thing that I thought that I needed to do to be prepared for this next stage. And so we had accomplished all of that. We got married, we bought a house, we, got a puppy together. So I finished school, we were ready. We were ready for this stage. So this was difficult. This was a hard blow for us. But because we had told everybody, we had such an amazing support system and an outpouring of prayers and love and support that still is amazing. I get calls, texts from people who are aware of the situation almost daily, but they also respect the fact that this is a hard process and a grieving process for my husband and I. So there are times when I don't want to be bothered. There are times when I just want to cry and be left alone and people understand, and I appreciate that. Another thing I really appreciated from our support system is the outpouring of love from my husband. You know, as the woman, everybody looks and wants to take care of us, but there are two people that created this baby, and there are two people in this situation. And in my case, you know, my husband got an outpouring of love and people to make sure that he was okay, aside from just being me, you know, just being about me and the baby, that he was personally okay. And I really, really appreciated everybody who texted him, called him, because this is hard. Anyway, back to the DNC. I went in Wednesday, got the procedure done. We were probably home by 1 p.m. I, again, didn't want to eat, didn't want to do anything. I was in pain. My husband talked to the doctor after their surgery, and she said everything went well. I'm kind of glad we got a DNC because Portsmouth offers like some kind of chromosomal testing. It doesn't always work, but we had the option to see if, you know, they could find anything genetically or chromosomally wrong with the baby. So the doctor sent my placenta, what little I had, and sent the baby off. We should know something in a couple of weeks. They did say that it doesn't always work, so we're just hopeful that we learned something. And if not, it's okay, you know. We are a faith-based family, so it's all in God's plan. And we're trusting and believing in that. After the procedure, we came home. They gave me some pain medication, and I needed it. So we were told that it was kind of like menstrual cramps, a different level. For me, I didn't know what that was because I don't have menstrual cramps. I never really had menstrual cramps, but oh God, for women who have them monthly, I am so sorry. I am sitting here right now with a heating pad on my uterus because it is angry. And these things hurt. I did not understand why I needed a narcotic for cramps. But Jesus be offense. Oh, God. Suck. They suck. And today is Saturday, so they're getting a little bit better. I did not have a lot of bleeding. I still don't have a lot of bleeding. Even the procedure, the doctors came out and said there wasn't a lot of blood. So that's not really an issue. I have had heavy periods, so I was prepared for the bleeding, but these cramps, Lord God, did not know. But I'm handling. My emotions are all over the place. Some days I'm okay. Well, not even days. Sometimes I'm okay throughout the day. And there are some times I just want to cry. And again, my husband has been there for each time. He knows when to baby me and just let me have my moments. And he also knows when to be firm and say, hey, let's, you got to get out of this bed. It's so easy when you have traumatic situations to fall into these dark places. And I personally don't want to fall too far. I understand it's a grieving process, but I don't know. Depression is scary and it's real. And again, with traumatic incidents, it's easy to get to those dark places. So my husband has been really great about making sure that I have my time to grieve, but also knowing that life does go on, and it does. I'm just so grateful to have been blessed with such an amazing husband. Some things after, thoughts and emotions can be your best friend and your worst enemy. Some days I struggle with illogical thoughts, and I'm sure if you've gone through this situation or you know someone who has, everybody tells you, it's not your fault. There was nothing you did. But I still think some days, like, it was my job to protect this baby and make sure it was healthy. And I didn't, and I couldn't. And in my head, there was something I did. Maybe I shouldn't have continued doing CrossFit, or maybe I should have drunk more water, ate more proteins, slept more, which I slept a lot, but maybe I shouldn't have eaten Fruit Loops and Froyo as full meals. And I know it's illogical, but sometimes that's what I think. Other thoughts that I have is that I disappointed myself and my husband. Again, this is something that he's wanted for a while, and he was so patient with me in my wanting to accomplish certain stuff before we got to this point, and parts of me feel like I let him down, and that's hard for me. My hormones have not returned to normal yet, obviously, because it's only been a couple of days, but I still have these vivid dreams. And it's funny, before I was like a ninja nurse, and I would save the day. While I was pregnant, I would save the day, and I would always, protect whoever it was I was supposed to. And now the dreams have went to, I never get there in time, no matter what it is. And that's hard for me to accept too. For the most part, I've accomplished everything that I set out to, and this was something that I couldn't control and I couldn't make happen right now. So it's kind of difficult. On a lighter note, we do plan to try and conceive again. I've heard that I'm going to be super fertile. So we have already talked to our doctor. I go for my follow-up appointment April 14th, where we should be cleared. Give it a week or two to heal, but once we are emotionally ready, there's nothing physically holding us back. For those who are faith-based and are praying with us, my aunt, who's a minister, has always said, pray. When you pray, make those prayers specific. So we are still praying for a baby Skipworth 2019. And if it happens, if it's in God's plan for us to have this baby next year, we will. And if not, then we'll continue to keep our faith and believe that all things work together for good. If you're watching this and you have recently or you have experienced a miscarriage, you are not alone. You can always leave your comments. I will link my email address and my Facebook in the description box if you ever want to message me. You have people out here that are going through it, that have gone through it. You can make it. I want to hopefully inspire other people, educate other people, and just be there, for somebody else. Because a lot of people have been there for me. So if this video can do that for anybody, that's the purpose. So that's all I have to say right now about that. Thank you for your continued support, your continued prayers, and love. I will see you guys later. Hi.